हिंदुस्तानी है, मतलब इसको आप हिंदी अंग्रेजी उर्दू कुछ नहीं कह सकते, आम हिंदुस्तानी ज़बान है जो हमारे घरों में बोली जाती है, हम समझते हैं.
आई थिंक ये भी एक खूबसूरती है कंटेंट के साथ, हाउ शी हैज़ द लैंग्वेज, और बिल्कुल इसी सिलसिले में और इसी वजह से हमको शायद वो कहानियाँ और अपनी लगें. ओके, नाउ इज देयर अ क्वेश्चन in the audience? I think people are still reeling in the stories. जी.
आप कहानी अपने लिए लिखती हैं या पढ़ने वालों के लिए लिखती हैं?
लिखनी जब शुरू की थी तो अपने लिए की थी, और जब पहली कहानी लिखी, यहाँ हिना बैठी हैं, अच्छा, मैंने हिना को मेल की. आई वॉज स्टक इन लंदन फॉर 6 months ड्यूरिंग लॉकडाउन, और वो कहानी लिख के मैंने हिना, बाहर मैं फोटोग्राफी के लिए जा नहीं सकती थी, तो आई सेंड इट टू वन ऑफ माई फ्रेंड्स, शी लाइक्ड इट, देयर शी इज. And she was kind enough to read it, and that is how it started. And soon my stories were not mine. They belong to everybody else, as they say. Once the book is published, it belongs to the readers, not to them.
Yes, any other question? Yes.
मेरा क्वेश्चन से ज़्यादा कमेंट है, और ये मैंने कमेंट आपको फेसबुक पे एक बार पढ़ने के बाद में सेम कमेंट तब भी दिया था. एक कहानी से शुरू होती है, फिर उसके बाद स्क्रिप्ट बनती है, फिर उसके बाद में डायलॉग लिखे जाते हैं, फिर स्क्रीन प्ले बनता है, टू गिव इट दैट सिनेमैटिक quality, so that the reader can actually visualize what's happening, and reader becomes a character in itself. Your stories have that quality of cinematic, presence, where the audience or the reader can feel the whole thing happening in front of that. The whole thing is in terms of dialogues, so that screenplay becomes alive with those dialogues. I must congratulate you for your style and your language also.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
सवाल नहीं है, सिर्फ एक एक्सपीरियंस है जो शेयर करना चाहती हूँ कि जब कोविड के दौरान आपने ऑनलाइन पब्लिश करके ये कहानियाँ हम तक पहुँचाई, तो रीडिंग शायद बहुत बहुत पहले छूट चुकी थी, लेकिन आपकी कहानियाँ मिस नहीं होती थी. और सबसे खूबसूरत बात आपके लेखन की ये है कि आप बहुत सादा लफ्ज़ों में बहुत गहरी बातें बहुत अच्छे से समझा देती हैं अपने रीडर्स को. और बहुत मुबारक इस बुक के लिए, और थैंक यू, आपने अपनी तमाम स्टोरीज़ हमारे साथ शेयर की.
Thank you so much.
Again, no question, only an expression of gratitude that you are in my life and your stories will go to many lives. And आपका जो अपनापन है, warmth है, वो आपकी कहानियों में झलकता है. और हमारे समाज का, especially our North Indian experience, it is very greatly covered. You middle class, mostly middle class, some lower middle, some upper middle. इस क्लास की आपने मतलब तह तक आप गई हैं, बहुत तहों तक, बहुत तहें खोली हैं आपने इसमें, और बहुत मज़ा आया आपकी कहानियाँ पढ़ के. Essential thing is that they are मज़ेदार कहानियाँ, बाकी डेप्थ एनालिसिस सब बाद में. कहानियाँ पढ़ के मज़ा बहुत आता है.
Thank you so much. I am so grateful कि आप लोगों ने मेरी कहानियाँ पढ़ी और उन्हें लाइक किया. I don't have words to really express myself.
Ashok ji.
Your stories are, short, realistic, intense. I'm just inquisitive that, is there a story that is really real?
Let me be very honest with you. ऑल माई स्टोरीज उसमें कुछ सच्चाई ज़रूर है, किसी में 10% है, किसी में 20% है, कुछ में 90% भी है।
So you have gathered it all from your
और
real
ये
life.
कहानियाँ कोई मेरी दादी ने सुनाई है, कोई मेरी सास ने सुनाई है, कोई मेरी नानी के गांव की है, या कोई जो मेरे घर में काम करने आती है उसने सुनाई। जब उन्होंने मुझे सुनाई थी तो वो उनका इंटरप्रिटेशन ऑफ दैट इवेंट वाज डिफरेंट, और उसको जब मैंने लिखना शुरू किया तो देन आई कुड सी द लेयर्स behind it, and that is how they happen. But there is definitely some amount of truth in all the stories.
All this stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah, so hi Prerna. I just wanted to say that I'm an English teacher, so I know it's writing is a profession, and it has nothing to do with being a good human being. But after reading your stories, I feel like how much difference a good human being can make to a story. That's my only thing that I want to say.
I think
Your sensitivity, you know, I can throughout feel in your stories. It's like your sensitivity, and it really, you know, enlightens us, and we learn something from it.
let me tell you, the company I have is amazing. I'm surrounded by wonderful humans, and they have made me see the goodness in the world. मतलब जो अगली है वो सबको दिखता है, पर जो उसके अंदर अच्छाई है वो आप लोगों ने मुझे दिखाई. Thank you so much, all of you.
God bless.
So, Prerna, you know, these were your Friday musings for us. And if you remember, I used to send it to my mom because she has shifted to US. So I've been in this journey with you, and I've been very thankful because my mom used to look forward to every Friday that I would send them to her. And in fact, जब आप 2-3 बार नहीं लिखती थी तो मैं आपको कहती थी कि कब आएंगी वो stories. So as Hina said, for me also, it has not been कि मैं उसमें depth देखूँ या क्या, but they touched my life and they touched my mom's life. So thank you for that.
I can't thank your mom enough for making me feel important.
प्रेरणा जी, थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर दिस बुक. और जैसा अभी इन लोगों ने कहा कि आपकी जो जर्नी जो वो क्लब हाउस और लॉकडाउन के दौरान जो शुरू हुई थी, तो ये एक पॉजिटिव पॉइंट हम लोगों के लिए होता था कि हर फ्राइडे हम तारिक की ज़बानी और आपकी ज़बानी ये स्टोरी सुनते थे, और फिर ये हमेशा ये बोलते थे कि ये बुक फॉर्म में कब आएगी. और अब आपने जैसे अभी बताया कि अब इसकी एक आगे का जो नेक्स्ट वर्जन है, तो वो भी अब आप उस पर काम कीजिए, तो सो दैट वी कैन हैव अनदर बुक वेरी सून. थैंक यू सो मच.
Thank you so much.
अच्छा, एक चीज़ मैं कहना चाहूँगी, दिस इज़ नॉट अबाउट प्रेरणा's राइटिंग बट अबाउट द publication. This book has been beautifully published, and writing इसकी मतलब जो इसका pages हैं, जो इसकी writing है, it's very easy to read. For people my age, it becomes very difficult to read fine print. So I'd like to give a shout out to the publishers, books etc. too.
नहीं, let me add something to it. मैंने सिर्फ कहानियाँ लिखी थी, उसके बाद books etc. has guided me all through. They've kind of held my hand. तब they would say, अरे forward किससे लिखाना है. Then I gave it to सुमन जी and she wrote. मुझे complex हो रहा था कि कहानियों से ज़्यादा forward अच्छा है. I may not overshadowed by that. तो उसके बाद blurb लिखना था. मीता so kindly did that, and people were so helpful. Rana was going through a very bad backache, and she was advised not to type. The last thing she typed, in spite of her pain, was translating one of my stories. So I'm thankful to all of you. And those who are not here, like every day at 4 o'clock, I'll call my brother, and he had to put up with my stories. Some of the stories my husband had to put up with. बहुत आसान नहीं होता. Women related stories for men, not everybody can put up with them. And all of you all who read my stories and gave very honest opinions about them, thank you so much. हाँ. And वो सीरियस किस्म की है अबाउट बिजनेस, मतलब it is the antidote of all that I have written. That is business, and that's an amazing book written in very easy language for people who want to start their business.
We are not saying that that is only his business. People who are in business can read it, huh?
Of course. That is what he's done his business already, so people want to do.
Yes.
It's nothing about the book. I haven't read it yet, but the things that we saw today was really great. But apart from everything, it really means a lot that you are a person, a beautiful human being who is not just talking about your work, but whole process, and to acknowledge the efforts of everybody who are a part of this is a great deal. We don't see that often now, because once the book is there, people usually take all the credit, the writer. So we hardly see a person sensitive enough to recognize others' efforts. Also, the times that we live in these days, it is very difficult to be optimistic. And meeting you and being around you, or being connected with you through your stories or photographs, brings back that optimism and that ray of hope that maybe things are not all that bad. So thank you for being who you are.
Thank you. Let me introduce you. These are my students. Sure.
Like Prerna ma'am just introduced us, we have had the privilege to be taught by ma'am photojournalism, and I remember during those classes, more than a teacher, she would interact with us as a friend. We would have a conversational style of interacting where we would learn things from her. And आज जब हम किताब के स्टोरी सुन रहे थे, I went back to those classes, and I'm so glad कि you have written the book in the same conversational style, which will make it easier for us to read and relate. And thank you so much for writing this book, and thank you so much for having this, so that we again are getting a chance to meet you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Ma'am, after Socrates, it is you who is following this method of conversation.
अब ये कुछ ज़्यादा हो गया। हाँ, ये कुछ ज़्यादा हो गया।
But ये था उसका ही था.
अच्छा,
And we need to say that it is not just Prerna Jain we want to cheer for, but also Sabha and Amir.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल। और आमिर भाई ने फोटो खिंचाई कि नहीं खिंचाई?
नहीं खिंचाई है।
जी, एक फोटो आमिर भाई की जरूर होनी चाहिए।